Now let's learn how to check whether any number is divisible by 2 or not. And in the previous videos we have seen for 10, we have seen for 5, now it's turn for number 2. So in order to check whether any number is divisible by 2 or not, then you have to remember one rule, or say one condition that number should satisfy is that at the units place, at the units or ones place, at the units or ones place of that number, there should be either 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8. So if in any number at the units place of that number, if at the units place of that number it has 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8 digit, then that number will be divisible by 2. So suppose the number is 20, number is 28, number is 36, number is 48, 10000826. So in all these numbers at the units place, in this case you have 0 digit at the units place, in this number you have 8 digit at the units place, in this number 36 you have 6 as the digit on the units place, here you have 8 as 8 on the units place, and in this case you have 6 at the units place. So if any number has 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8 at its units place, then that number will be divisible by 2. Okay, so this would be like 2 times 10 is 20. This would be 2 times 14 would be 28. You can divide this number by 2 and you will get this, this factor. And similarly for this one, and this one. So suppose you have number 471. Is this number divisible by 2? So you will go at the units place and you will check, okay, at the units place you have the digit 1. Therefore it does not satisfy this condition that you should have 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8 at its units place for any number to be divisible by 2. Then of course this number is not divisible by 2. What about 478? Yes, this number is divisible by 2 because it satisfies this condition and it has 8 at its units place, and therefore this number is divisible by 2. In this video, let's learn how to check whether any number is divisible by 3 or not. So we have seen for 10, we have seen for 5, we have seen for 2 in the previous videos. This is the time for the number 3. And let me explain you this with an example. Suppose you have number 103. So if you have to check whether 103 is divisible by 3 or not, then what you will do is just add all these digits. So in this number 103 you have digit 1, you have digit 0 and you have digit 3. So there are 3 digits and you just add them. So the addition would be 1 plus 0 plus 3 and the sum would be 4. Is number 4 divisible by 3? Of course not. 4 is not divisible by 3, therefore 4 is not the multiple of 3, and therefore the number 103 will not be divisible by 3. What about number 104? Again, if you add all these digits, it would be 1 plus 0 plus 4 and this will be 5. Is number 5 divisible by 3? The answer is no. The number 5 is not divisible by 3 and therefore 104 is not divisible by 3. What about 105? So the addition would be 1 plus 0 plus 6. Sorry, it's 5 and the sum would be 6. And yes, 6 is divisible by 3. 6 is divisible by 3. It's 3 times 2 is equal to 6, right? Therefore, 6 is the multiple of 3, and therefore 105 is divisible by 3. Therefore, the rule or the condition that must be satisfied is for any number to be divisible by 3, the sum of all the digits should be divisible by 3, right? So you just add all the digits, you add all the digits, and after adding, the sum you will get, or the answer that you will get, this should be divisible by 3. And if it is divisible by 3, then that number would be divisible by 3. Let me take one more example. What about say 7, 3 and 2? Is this number divisible by 3? So you go on and add the digits, all the digits. It's 7 plus 3 plus 2. This would be 12. And yes, 3 times 4 is equal to 12. Therefore, this number 12 is divisible by 3, and therefore this number would be divisible by 3. And you can cross check it. So 732, you divide it by 3. So this goes 1, and you have then 3, and you have 12, and then you have this 2, and you have then 12. So 3 times 244 is equal to 732. And similarly, you can cross check for this one also, this one also, and this one also. So this is the shortest way, this is the shortcut way to tell whether any number is divisible by 3 or not. In order to find out whether any number is divisible by 4 or not, there are two conditions. The first condition is whether the number has one or two digits. The number has the 1 or 2 digits. So if the number has 1 or 2 digits, then in that case you'll have to check by dividing it. Like suppose it's 6 and it's asked whether this number is divisible by 4 or not. So in that case you don't have any trick. You'll have to divide it and check it out whether this number is divisible by 4 or not. So in this case 6 is not divisible by 4, right? You can easily check it. So this is not divisible. Similarly, if it's 31, so someone asks whether you can straight without dividing you can tell whether this number is divisible by 4 or not. No, there's no way. We don't have any trick. You'll have to divide it, and even in this case this is not divisible. But 32, yes, it is divisible, and it's 4 times 8, right? So 4 times 8 is 32. That is, you can divide it by 4. Now the second condition, that's the main condition, and that's a trick, or say the shortcut to tell whether any number is divisible by 4 or not. If the number has 3 or more digits, if this is the condition, then in that case, let's take an example. Suppose you have 744. Okay, so if you have a number which has 3 digits or has more than 3 digits, in that case, if the digit at the ones place, this is the ones place, and the digit at the tens place, the ones and the tens place, if you add these two digits, and if after adding these two digits you have a number, like in this case you have 4 plus 4, is equal to 8, and if this number is divisible by 4, if this number, after adding the digits at ones and tens place, if the obtained number is divisible by 4, then that whole number will be divisible by 4. In this case, this number is divisible by 4, and you can cross check it, like this is 744. Right? And we say that if you add the digits at the ones and the tens place, and the number obtained from adding those two digits, if that number is divisible by 4, then the whole number will be divisible by 4. So in this case, you can cross check it. This is 4. So 1, this is 4, and you have 3, right? And you have 4 here. And it is 4, 8, 32. This is 2, 4, and this is 6. So this number is 4 times 186 is 744. That is, it is divisible by 4. Now, if someone asks whether 351, is 351 divisible by 4 or not? So at the ones place you have 1, and at the tens place you have 5. So if you add 5 plus 1, you'll get 6. Of course, 6 is not divisible by 4. This is not divisible by 4. Therefore, this whole number will not be divisible by 4. And you can cross check it. You can cross check it. So this is 4. This will be 32. You got 3 and 1. Right? Now you will go 4, 7 and 28. Left with 3. 3 is a remainder. This is not divisible by 4. Okay? So what's the condition? There are two conditions. If you have the number has only 1 or 2 digits, then you'll have to check it by dividing it, because there is no shortcut or a trick to check out whether that number is divisible by 4 or not. But if the number has 3 or more than 3 digits, then yes, you can have a shortcut to know whether that number is divisible by 4 or not, and that is add the digits at the ones and the tens place, and if the number obtained after adding both those two digits is divisible by 4, then the whole number will be divisible by 4. Thanks for watching. If you are given some numbers and it's asked that to check whether that numbers are divisible by 5 or not. So like in the previous video, we checked for, we saw for number 10 that how would you check whether any number is divisible by 10 or not. In this video, we'll see for 5. So the condition or the rule for any number to be divisible by 5 is that that number should have 0. That number should have either 0 or digit 5, either digit 0 or digit 5 at its units place, at its units place. What does that mean? Suppose you have numbers like 557, and then you have 55, you have 50, you have 6,080, you have 60,000 and 805, you have 305. So suppose these are 6 numbers, and if you have to check whether that out of these 6 numbers, which numbers are divisible by 5, then the condition is that particular number should have 0 or 5 at its units place. So 557 has 7 at its units place. This number has 5 at its units place. This number has 0 at its units place. This number has 0 at its units place. This number has 5 at its units place, and this number has 5 at its units place. So out of these 6 numbers, 5 numbers satisfy our condition of that they should have 0 or 5 at the units place. But in the case of 557, it has 7, so it will not be divisible by 5. So you can check for any number. I mean, this condition is true for any number having any number of digits, like it can be 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 8, 1, 3, 2 and 0, suppose. So even this number is divisible by 5. Why? Because it has 0 at its units place. So condition is this, and you can check it, you can cross check it by dividing that number. Like you can divide it 557 by 5. So when you divide it, if you divide it, so it would be 1, it's gone, then you have 5, then it's 1, it's gone, then you have 7, and now you have 1, this would be 5, and you have 2. Now you have 2 as a remainder and not 0 as a remainder, therefore 5 is not a proper divisor, and therefore 557 is not divisible by 5. So this was the condition, or this is a rule to check whether any number is divisible by 5 or not, and the condition was it should have 0 or 5 at its units place. Welcome back, and in this video let's learn how to check whether any number is divisible by 6 or not. So if you haven't watched the previous videos for the number 2 and for the number 3, then I request you to please go in the playlist and watch those videos for the number 2 and for the number 3, that is to check whether any number is divisible by 2 or 3 or not. Then come to this video, because here we will use those concepts. And let me explain you for any number to be divisible by 6 or not by an example. Now let's take an example. Say I have number 474. Now to check whether any number is divisible by 2 or not, you just check whether at the units place you have 0, 2, 4, 6 or 8. Okay, whether the number has, if the number has these any one of these digits, then that number would be divisible by 2. So in this case you have 4 at its units place, and therefore this number is divisible by 2, right? Now check for the number 3. Is this number divisible by 3 or not? So to do that, you just add all these digits, that is 4 plus 7 plus 4. And I repeat again, if you haven't watched the previous videos for 2 and 3, that is the divisibility by 2 and 3, then please go and check that. So you will just add these digits, that is 4 plus 7 plus 4, and you will get 15. Is number 15 divisible by 3? Yes, this is 3 times 5 and you will get 15. Therefore 3 is the factor of 15, that is 15 is a multiple of 3, that is 15 is divisible by 3. And since this sum, that is the sum of all these digits, is divisible by 3, therefore this number will be divisible by 3. We know that, right? So this is divisible by 2 and divisible by 3, right? Divisible by 2 and divisible by 3 both. So that is what the condition must be satisfied. That is, the rule is, if any given number is divisible by 2 and by 3, both of these numbers by 2 and 3, and that number will be divisible by 6. To satisfy the condition, it should be divisible by 2 and by 3. Let me take one more example. What about 2, 3 and 3? 3 to 5. Let me take here 4. So is this number divisible by 2? You would say yes, this is divisible by 2 because we have 2 at the units place. Therefore it satisfies the condition for the number 2. And what about number 3? So to check whether this number is divisible by 3 or not, we'll just add all the digits, that is 4 plus 3 plus 2, and you'll get this 9. And 9 is divisible by 3 because 3 times 3 is 9, right? Since the sum of these digits is divisible by 3, therefore this number is divisible by 3. Therefore it satisfies our condition, that is, if any number is divisible by 2 and it is divisible by 3 also, then that number will be divisible by 6 also. Therefore, if you want to cross check it, so 432 divided by 6, it will be 42 here, this is 12 and this is 2, right? So 6 times 72 will be 432. So this was the shortest way to check whether any number is divisible by 6 or not. So remember, if the number is divisible by 2 and if the number is divisible by 3 also, then that number will be divisible by 6 also.